Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Isaiah and today I thought it would be pertinent to talk about the Astroworld incident that happened in Houston very recently with a Mr. Travis Scott. I should preclude this by saying I wasn't super aware of what had happened until it came across my Reddit a few times and I was just like, who the fuck is Travis Scott? Because all these memes were coming out about how he was dancing while children were dying, that sort of thing. And so I looked into it, and it's honestly horrifying. And I saw some comments on Fuck Travis Scott subreddit that made me want to make this video. So let's talk about what happened. Travis Scott is a rapper who, according to his old manager, had his relevance artificially inflated at the start of his career, making like fake Twitter bots interact with his Twitter and other bots that would listen to his Spotify music over and over again. Um, he is from Houston actually, and he has been putting on this concert called Astroworld after one of his albums since 2017. So it's like 2017, 2018, 2019, I think, skip 2020, and now 2021. A little fuzzy on how many of them have happened. And he is an interesting figure, to say the least, from what I've looked into it, because rap is not my genre at all. I don't listen to any rap, essentially, because I am whiter than milk toast. Just being honest, it's not my genre of music. I can respect the people that do it, but I listen to what Briar listens to, and it's not rap. So, from what I can tell, he has signed on a lot with the big sponsorships. From everything that I've heard and seen, it sounds like he is someone who wanted to climb the ranks of fame for the money and not really for the fans. Otherwise, why would all of this be happening so quickly? He apparently started releasing music in 2012, so it hasn't even been 10 years and he's already more or less selling out, quote unquote. Like, I understand that you need to eat, but there's a difference between that and signing on with like McDonald's and Nike and shit like that. Anyway, so he's been putting on these Astroworld concerts in Houston for a few years, and there's already been an incident a few years ago in 2017, I believe, where 3 people died. He's also been known for being extremely vitriolic, um, apparently outing trans people that were his fans, yelling homophobic slurs at his fans, demeaning his stage manager, actually leaving him in a basement for a while while the manager was all but dying, essentially. He survived. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to see his TikTok. And what else? He's also been known to try to sick his fans onto his security. There's been stuff coming out about how a security person was able to push a kid off of the stage and back into the crowd safely, and he started getting cussed out by Travis Scott, and Travis Scott started like instigating more fans to try and climb past security onto the stage. And every time that the security officer was able to push them back, he would get cursed out again. And so that's the type of people that are listening to Travis Scott, that are attending his concerts, and that Travis Scott is curating for his audience. Plus, when we remember that there's been a pandemic for the past year and concerts are just now really starting again, okay, so that's the climate we're going into. Turns out, um, 8 people died and there are many, many more injured. And one of the youngest people that died was 14. 7 of them have been identified at this point in time, meaning that one still unknown. People are looking for this person's name for their family so that they can tell them, let them know. So somewhere there's this family that doesn't know that their kid is gone. Because what happened is when the concert started, there's this thing that happens where people will start trying to push forward and they'll start compressing all the people in the front and people around them. And with most concerts, especially with metalheads, I've never heard anything bad about metalhead concerts, but when the mosh pit starts, they'll you are supposed to help the other people, and the singers or the band that's performing will stop and tell people to get safe again, back up, and then they'll start playing again. That's usually what happens. It didn't happen this time. I've read several things, watched a few videos, and what it looks like is Travis Scott would continue to perform. He would stop sometimes, be like, hey, hold up your middle finger if you're okay, or raise two hands if you're good. And this is after ambulances started coming in. And then he would keep playing. And again, he's this sort of person that he urged people to rush security at the start of the concert before it even began to try and get in for free. And they did, and more people got hurt. And there were incidents where people needed to take some sort of anti-narcotic medication because they were ODing on something. Unfortunately, I only saw like one article about that, so I can't really go into depth. But that's something that I saw, and I felt important to convey that this was something that was starting from the beginning. Um, so there's a rapper that is instigating all of his followers, all of his fans to ignore the rules and to just fuck everybody, only care about themselves. We've had COVID for ages and people are restless, so everyone feels different. Plus, there's this general malaise and unease with security and police and that sort of thing, which is understandable because police officers are pieces of shit. And so I'm not surprised that something like this happened, especially with Travis Scott. It's extremely disappointing to see someone with fame be so willing to put his fans at risk, but considering the fact that he's had his career for 9 years, going on 10, he's already signing huge sponsorships. He had his stuff artificially inflated at the beginning so he could have more of a platform. It looks like he's someone that only cares about money, and someone pointed that out, that this is a result of capitalism. And someone was trying to argue against that, saying like, oh no, it's because Gen Z just doesn't care, they look in their phones all the time. But this sort of thing has happened before. There's been concerts where people have died because of the gen. And you can't just say that it's just this generation when we've had, like in 1999, there was an awful mess of a fuck, I forgot what it's called. Woodstock 1999 was horrible because there wasn't enough porta potties and nobody was doing anything, and so it was wet and full of shit and mud, and people got compressed and it got hurt. So it's not just a Gen Z problem, and I'm speaking as someone who's a millennial. That and it's not just an American problem either, because like in 2010 there were an electronic music festival in Germany and 18 people were crushed, and like in 1979 a Who concert had 11 people die. So it's not just a Gen Z problem, and I am honestly quite annoyed that anyone will try and make this a generational thing when no, this is more of a combination of a artist who doesn't see his fan base as people but as dollar signs, and un- unease and restlessness from being trapped inside from a pandemic for over a year, and a desire to say fuck the police. And in this case, the security officers were probably also seen as the police. So that is my opinion on it. Kanye and Travis Scott are now being sued. There's at least one lawsuit going on, and I'm sure there's going to be multiple more because many people have gotten hurt. And I would love it if Travis Scott can just stay off the face of social media, because he really does not deserve a name after this if he can't take care of his own people. Honestly, you should look up some of these videos that people are posting of other artists stopping and waiting for things to calm down or waiting for people to get medical help before they continued, because those are good people. They may also be capitalists, but they at least pretend to care, which is more than you can say for Travis Scott, because fuck him, honestly. And if you defend him, fuck you too. And if you call this a generational thing and not something that got exasperated by capitalism, by a pig, and by this horrible the world is slowly burning thing that's been happening over the past year, especially, fuck you too. Otherwise, I hope you guys stay hydrated and stay safe. This is why I don't go to concerts. I'll talk to y'all tomorrow.